Stand by for a transmission from DX Central. This broadcast is not a test. To confirm reception, please tune your radio to any AM or FM frequency and report your observations during this transmission. Again, this is not a test. Stand by for a transmission from DX Central. This broadcast is not a test. To confirm reception, please tune your radio to any AM or FM frequency and report your observations during this transmission. Again, this is not a test.
DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News Member Bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. From the pages of its DX Monitor member bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AM/DX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AM/DXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
The Philadelphia Phillies pregame show, brought to you by Safeguard Mutual Insurance and by Woco Department Stores.
The Gulf South
to your corner of the world.
This is DX Central Live.
Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
From the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana, my friends, good evening. It is DX Central Live. There we go. That's better. Hopefully this finds you doing well. Great DX this week. Great weather, hopefully. I know some folks that are part of the stream each week are kind of under the gun right now, so to speak, with some bad weather. So hopefully everyone is safe and sound. So we're keeping you up here and watching out for you here, guys and gals. So hopefully you stay safe. If you do have some nasty weather, make sure you listen to the warnings and whatnot and take those seriously. And I know, like, our friend Justin up in Minnesota is about to they're under blizzard warnings. It's like 5 to 10, was it inches or feet? I can't remember which one it was. Just a ton of snow on top of what they already have. And, spring just doesn't want to come around for some folks. Here in southeast Louisiana, we've had a pretty nice week. We had some storms earlier in the week. Had to unplug everything, and actually just today had a chance to come back and replug everything back in. So that tells you something. I didn't do a whole lot of DX this week, but we got a lot of other stuff done. So we'll be talking a bit about some things that we got going on here at DX Central. And of course, we'll have our usual assortment of fun here. We have our results from last week of the medium wave frequency challenge when we were looking at 900 and 990. We'll be doing those results. We'll be finishing up this week. We're sitting on 1330 and 1332. And we'll be getting ready to launch next hour our next week of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge. What frequency shall it be? Let us know your thoughts in the chat. What frequency you think we're going to be targeting this week. And we'll see who was right. And for little bragging rights there. Of course, our usual assortment of live DX. We have shout-outs as well. So if you have a assortment of new logs, if you logged a new station or more than one this week, new states. I know we got some folks with some new states this week. We'll be shooting off some fireworks for them. New countries. If you heard a new country, we can stamp a passport for you. New Canadian province. And I do have one on standby ready to roll for the new Mexican state. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but it's there. We did our Canadian province one for the first time last week. And so, yeah, if you guys have any of those, get those gathered up. We'll be looking for them here in a little bit in the chat and looking for folks to contribute those and getting some shout-outs. And as we like to normally do, shout out with the Horn of Victory. Yes, sir. All right, so yeah, a good week overall. Again, not a lot of DX here at DX Central. We had a little bit that we were able to do earlier in the week. So I did get a chance to go back in and do some recording review of some of the recordings from earlier in the week. But since basically, Monday-ish, Tuesday-ish, we haven't had any live DX recording is happening until tonight. The one that's running right now is the first one that's been recording all week. So there we go. Let's see. Got ourselves a nice cold beer. Hey, it's not St. Patrick's Day, but I'm still a stout guy. So I got my Guinness here. Cheers. Sláinte. So good. We're chasing it with a little sweet tea as well. Non-product endorsements. All right, and we'll have our tweet of the week. We do have, I don't have any details yet, but there is a DX test announcement coming. Our friends Les and Paul in the Courtesy Program Committee are working on announcing a new series of twin DX tests, 2 DX tests, that will actually include slow scan television. So you'll be able to decode the slow scan TV image, hopefully, or at the very least, hear the very distinct sound of the slow scan TV signal. Those of you who did the KDWN DX test may remember that. We had a very distinct sound of the slow scan TV audio that was coming through that was like, wow, that sounds really good. It cuts through pretty well. So even if you can't decode it, I mean, if you can decode it, obviously that's fantastic. But even if you can't decode it, you may be able to hear it. And hearing it is just one of those little pieces that you can put into your case that you're making of whether or not you did hear that station. So look for those announcements coming out here pretty soon. Once that happens, we'll have our announcement here. And speaking of DX tests, we did have one this last weekend, Saturday. We had 2, actually, from the state of Kentucky, WMST and WWKY, 990 and 1150. Unfortunately, I had planned on streaming those Saturday night, but some technical difficulties prevented that. So my apologies to you all. Normally, you guys know I like to do the DX test live stream so that folks are able to compare to their recordings. And if we heard it and they heard it at the same time, it kind of helps legitimize the reception. But just wasn't able to make it work this time. So we'll make it up with this next announcement. I think you guys are going to be pretty happy about this next one. So other than that, the usual assortment of live DX and fun. So again, join us in the chat, and we'll be sure to celebrate each other's great catches this week and anything else that might have come up. We'll have an announcement from DX Central coming up here pretty soon that I'll be putting out in the next couple of weeks. You saw the teaser video that we ran a few minutes ago in the intro. So we'll be making an announcement here pretty soon about a fun little activity. Myself, Sean Cusco, friend of the channel. You guys see him in the chat a lot. And Mike Leary, also a friend of the channel. And actually a friend of my dad's, found out through this process. Him and my dad go way, way back. We've been working on a little bit of a project for this spring and summer. So looking forward to putting that out there and announcing it to everybody and seeing what everybody thinks about this fun little thing that we're doing here. So more little snippets of clues will be coming here over the next several weeks until we make the final announcement. All right, so let's go ahead. We're getting close to the top of the hour time frame here, my friends. And of course, this hour of Live DX is brought to you by the National Radio Club. NationalRadioClub.org. That's where you want to go for more information about becoming a member. We have a couple of SDRs running right now. We have our Perseus SDR with our CAS antennas. We have the one pointing south and another pointing southeast. And then over on the Air Spy, we have one pointing southwest. So everything looking down to the south. I figured with some lightning and storms off to my north that it'd probably be better just to look down south tonight. Plus, conditions haven't been terrible looking south, so maybe we'll find something pretty cool here. But let's go ahead and hit that big old red button. Top of the hour time, my friends. You know what that means. We're going to the Perseus SDR. And actually, let's start off as we sometimes like to do here for the top of the hour. Since the top of the hour is already being recorded on the Perseus, let's go over here now to the Air Spy. And we're looking southwest. Let's see if we have anything. There's nothing in Mexico out of the entire country on 1330. Maybe we get some out of Texas. Let's see what's there. Hey, we got ourselves a nice...
Correspondent Norman Hall reports. TikTok head lawyer says past officials and Chinese parent company ByteDance has not heard from the Biden administration since TikTok's CEO testified in Congress last week. TikTok's general counsel Eric Anderson offered the update to a tech conference in San Francisco. Anderson also said TikTok has given user data to the U.S. government in response to requests related to law enforcement. Leaders at the FBI, CIA, officials and other government agencies have warned that ByteDance has...
Boy, that just went... You did, indeed. Yeah, that was WEBY, Milton, ESPN, Pensacola. to who this one with Gladys Knight might be. All right, let's go back over to now the Perseus and see what we might have caught here at the top of the hour. If there was anything good in there. So we're going to rewind and go back here.
8, and don't forget, SportsCenter all night, every night at midnight. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. The Rich Eisen You're listening to on weekday.
So the difference here between the two antennas is this one is pointing at 170 degrees, so nearly due south, where the other one was pointing at 215 degrees, pretty much southwest. So it was pointing away from Pensacola, so that's why you're hearing a lot more of Pensacola on this antenna than you did on the southwest Cas.
Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola. This is SportsCenter.
Good evening, I'm Steve Lennox, LSU and Virginia Tech at the half in the NCAA.
Hey, Keegan, hope you're okay, my friend. Hope everything's good where you're at.
National Semi.
Wow, look at that. Did you see what just happened there? Let's rewind that a bit.
Good evening, I'm Steve Lennox, LSU and Virginia Tech at the half in the NCAA Women's Tournament National Semi.
Gone. They are a 25K daytime station, so to see them just like that, it's pretty cool. Yeah, glad to see you're good and safe there, Keegan. My guess is that that station is either KVOL, which it was a little louder on the Southwest wire. That would make sense. Or it could be WWAB Boss Hog Radio down in Florida, which I have heard this week, and constitutes the only new logging that I had the entire week. And I got that last Friday night during our live stream, and I've already Horn of Victory and sawed the log on that one. So I have no logs to saw tonight, my friends. So we'll be getting you guys in here a little bit with your log saws and your passport stamps and your fireworks and whatnot. Let's take a little look here and see if there's anything else here in this top of the hour that might be there. Hey, Haley, you good? Everything's good and safe where you're at? Hopefully you're in good shape there. I know that the storm's been rolling through your area, too. So we do have a talk station in here, which is more than likely to be NIX up here in Greenville, Mississippi. They've been kind of the dominant station this week. Hunker down, Haley. These have been pretty nasty, as I'm sure you've seen and heard. So if you guys, you get a warning, definitely take it serious and head for cover as much as you can. As many walls between you and the outside as you possibly can, because these things are nothing to sneeze at. KVOL, Lafayette, Louisiana. That's our dominant station there with now CSNY. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to do some more live DX. We got our results video from last week's frequency challenge. We'll be gearing up here towards the end of the hour and getting ready for our new frequency announcement. And we'll do shout outs and a whole lot more. So just stay tuned. More live DX is heading your way right here on DX Central Live.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Seventh inning, 1-0 in favor of Baltimore. The Birds with a run on 3 hits, no errors. The Dodgers, no runs, 3 hits, and no errors. For the Dodgers, Willie Davis, Lou Johnson, and Tommy Davis. Dave McNally comes to the plate. A drag bunt attempt is missed by Willie, and the count 0-1. This grounded to Johnny Powell and struck out and made the defensive play on Powell's bid for a home run in the 4th inning.
DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News Member Bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. From the pages of its DX Monitor Member Bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AMDX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AMDXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana. And good Friday evening to you all. Hopefully you're having a great night wherever you are. And hopefully you're safe. I know we got some folks who are either just recently had some storms pass through or have some heading their way. So we hope you all are good. Rick, I saw you were in there. Haley, hopefully you guys are all good. I know those storms are nothing to sneeze at where you're at. So please stay safe. And good to see Rob in. Rob is in the house. Nice to see you in there, my friend. Miss seeing you around. And Justin, I know you got some nasty weather up your way as well, and some snow heading your way. You guys can't catch a break with this one, so hopefully you're safe. I know you said you pretty much got everything unplugged tonight because of the lightning and things like that. So we can be your DX. You can DX vicariously through us. All right, let's go ahead and let's look back to last week. We were sitting on the frequencies of 900 and 990, and it was a great week. Some pretty good stuff came in last week. Some good logs, some good stuff. So let's take a look back and see, how did we do? There you go. Week 20 now in the books, officially, and wrapped up. And congratulations to Barry and all of our category winners from week 20. 900 and 990. It was an interesting week. We do have a local here on 990, so I didn't have a whole lot there. At a couple stations I was able to squeeze out through some phasing. And then 900 proved to be, kind of the same old that we typically hear here. So nothing really stood out from this particular week. But we'll be hitting that one again probably next season at some point as we get ready to start season 3, the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge, and season 4 of DXC Live. Can't believe we only have 5 episodes left of this season. I remember sitting here in this very seat that I'm sitting in now, just anxiously away. Oh, I can't wait to start the new season and everyone see the new layout, the new camera, and the new everything. I can't wait. It's gonna be so much fun. And now here we are, 5 episodes left. Can't believe it. It's crazy. So yeah, again, congratulations everybody for the great DX that came in there on week number 20. We're wrapping up week 21 right now, which is 1330 and 1332 for our international friends. And we'll be announcing our week 22. I had to think about that for a second. Week 22 here a little bit later on this hour as we go through. So, as we like to do here at DX Central Live, we like to celebrate together. So, we do shout-outs every week. We will take in any new logs that you heard. It doesn't have to be on the challenge frequencies, but if you did hear new stuff on the challenge frequency this week, awesome. Let's hear about that. But if you heard anything else new anywhere else in the band, we want to know new logs, new states, new countries, new Canadian provinces, and if you have a new Mexican state, you can just throw that in there too, and I will queue up the new little celebration that I put together for that. So yeah, new station logs, new states, new countries, new Canadian provinces, or Mexican states. We want to hear about those. Let's go back over to our Live DX here. Again, this hour of Live DX is brought to you by the National Radio Club. NationalRadioClub.org is the website for more information about becoming a member. Let's go back to 1330 and let's go to the Southeast Wire now and see if we have anything cooking over here on the Southeast Wire. We know the South, we were hearing Florida, we were hearing KVOL. Let's see Southeast if we're hearing anything out of Florida or anything like that. So send those shout outs now over in the chat. Let me know what you heard. New states, new countries, new logs, new Canadian provinces, or Mexican states. Let's send them on over. Barry says he wonders who's going to win this week. Certainly not him. We do have a person who is on the backstretch here, heading towards the finish line, that is well in the lead, not named Barry. So this will be an interesting week. It's kind of close between that person and some of the other folks. So there's still time to get your logs in on the Google form for week 21. And again, we'll be putting out the blog post with the new Google form for week 22 here later on this hour. But you still have time to get your logs in for 1330 on this week's Google form. So make sure you submit those because, hey, maybe you can pull ahead right there at the last minute. All right, Bill, we're going to give you an extra special shout out right now before we do any of the others. We'll come back in here and get you another little horn of victory a little bit later on, but let's go ahead and call this one out because this is a big accomplishment. Bill just said over in the chat, he heard 13 new stations this week, including 4 on 1330, and one of those was WBTM in Virginia, right there off the North Carolina to Virginia line, it looks like from the map I'm looking at. And that was log number 1,000 for Bill. Bill, congratulations! Yeah, let that one whole play out. Good job, Bill. We'll get you another shout in here in a bit. I just wanted to go ahead and do that now because that's 1,000. That deserves a shout out all by itself. Back to 1330 we go. Send me your shout outs. So Airplane Engine, the Colombian, was that a new country for you or just a new log from Colombia that you hadn't gotten before? Oh, I'm gonna get hit with that old... either way I go. I'm gonna get hit with that copyright strike this week, aren't I? Let's go over here, try it on the Southwest wire. No matter where I go, there's Paul. All right, so far I've got Bill, I've got Mike, I've got John, I've got Bart, I've got David, I've got Airplane Engine, and I got Carl D. And we're going to go ahead and do a special shout out for John here too, because this is a big accomplishment. Because anytime you get over 1,000, they start getting harder and harder to get. So 2 new ones from John this week. We're going to circle back around and talk about which ones those were here in a second. But the 2 new ones for John this week put John at 1,200. Yeah. Good job, John. We're going to get you another shout out here in a second to talk about the details on that. But 1200 Stations deserves its own shout out. Justin, that Live and Let Die with Macca there, that's my near station here, KVOL of Lafayette, Louisiana, who just is going into sunset right now. So they should be dying down here in a little bit. They do power down from 5 to 1K at night at sunset. So they should be going down hopefully here in a bit. And maybe we have a shot at some of these Texas stations that have been absent for us this week. What'd you get, Stephanie?
And right now, a lot of and the reason being is the folks running those institutions.
Oh, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
You think about it, the intel community and the FBI told us Trump was a Russian asset controlled by Vladimir Putin.
What'd you get, Stephanie? I'm sorry I missed you in there.
Knowing it was based on opposition research from the Clinton campaign, knowing that every time John Brennan, James Clapper got on TV and Adam Schiff got on TV, was like, no, we've seen the collusion, we've got proof.
Yeah, Mike, that was what I had in Charleston. I would go down to the beach in my car radio, and I would sit there and listen to Algeria. Well, I'd hear the head at least. I couldn't dial in the 9K split. I'd have a portable radio for that, but I'd hear the Algerian 891, Spain 621, or is it Canary Island 621? It's been a while since I looked at it. Some of those others, 531, 549, Algeria, 1089, England, which is gone now, I believe. Either that or 1215 is gone, right? So yeah, I mean, it was. That is one thing about Mandeville. It's been a fantastic location for me. I've heard so many stations here, way more than I heard when I was in Charleston, especially for the short amount of time that I've been here comparatively. But I do miss the transatlantics, transatlantics. That's one that I have missed, and in the Eastern Caribbean stuff like Puerto Rico and things like that. Dominican Republic, Haiti, those were a little easier to hear there than they will be here. So. All right, so far on the shout-outs, we got Bill in there, we've got Mike, we've got John, we've got Bart, we've got David, we've got Airplane Engine, we've got Carl, we've got Rob, and we've got Stephanie. If I have not called your name and you've got a shout-out you want to get in here this hour, make sure you let me know in the chat if you've heard new states, new countries, new logs, new Canadian province. And Barry, even if we don't get a new Canadian province, we might just throw the moose out there just for fun. See if we can just throw that in there, a little Letterkenny in there too.
That's when they made it easy. No matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC. Go to GetRefunds.com to get started. And in less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee kept on payroll during COVID-19. GetRefunds.com has already helped clients claim over $3 billion in payroll tax refunds through the ERC, and they may be able to help yours too. There's no upfront charge either. They don't get paid until your business gets its refund. Many businesses believe they won't qualify based off incomplete or outdated information. So don't let this opportunity pass you by, because this payroll tax refund is only available for a limited time. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com. GetRefunds.com.
Hi, can I help you?
Hi, yeah.
I'm looking for a doodad that fits this thingamajiggy. We just got in a new shipment of doodads. Great. Oh, and I also need a what's it? You got those? Sure do. Keeping them right next to the doodads. Follow me.
At Cleveland Lumber and Supply, we have a big selection of whatchamacallit, thingamabobs, and doodads by the dozen. Whether you know exactly what you're looking for or it's all rigmarole to you, you can count on Cleveland Lumber to help you get exactly what you came for. Cleveland Lumber and Supply, Highway 61 North, across from Walmart.
Mornings were made for better things than rheumatoid arthritis or RA. Zelzam sulfatinib is a pill for adults with moderate to severe RA when tumor necrosis factor blockers did not work well or could not be tolerated. Zelzam can help relieve joint pain, swelling, and help stop further joint damage. Zelzam can lower your ability to fight.
I'm going to assume this is going to be WWAB in Lakeland.
Your doctor should check for infections like TB and blood tests. Serious, sometimes fatal.
Got you in there, Haley.
Cancers, including lymphoma and lung, blood clots, serious heart-related events, tears in the stomach or intestines, and allergic reactions have happened. People 50 and older with heart disease risk factors have an increased risk of death. Tell your doctor if you've had hepatitis B or C, have flu-like symptoms, are prone to infections, or have ever had a heart attack, stroke, clot, or other heart problems, or swelling of the lungs, throat, or eyes.
Nope, never mind. It was Cleveland Lumber and Supply, not Lakeland. Okay. So that's what I've pretty much had this week. It's been WEBY early in the evening before they go daytime sign off, KVOL, NIX, and WWAB. That's pretty much all I've had this week on 1330. I was hoping for some KNSS. I was hoping for KTON in Lincolnton, Texas. I was hoping for maybe something up in Iowa, the KPTY that Haley just mentioned. WBGW there in Illinois. Something. Or I guess it's Evansville right there near the line. So I was hoping for something other than WNIX, WBY, KVOL. But not much. Not much this week. Okay. Be careful, Justin. You got to make sure you have those provisions, right? If you're going to suffer through the snow, you got to make sure you have things to keep you warm on the inside, too. Let's go ahead and do some of these shout-outs now. So this will be the first round. So if you got shout-outs and you don't hear your name called here when we do this first round, have no fear. We'll circle back around and get you. So let's start with Haley. One new one this week. KPTY in Iowa. Good job, Haley. Let me move my keyboard over here so I have unfettered access to the buttons here. Stephanie got 3 new ones this week. Stephanie got CJYM in Saskatchewan, which unfortunately I saw you already had some Saskatchewan logs. I was ready when I saw you post that earlier this week. I was like, "Ooh, that means I get to do the province," but no, that was not a new one for you. Not new province at least. KNSS in Kansas. Was that your first Kansas? I assume probably not. I'm sure you probably heard Kansas before, but And then 840 WMAX. I'm sorry. What was it? What was that? Call letters. Did I write that down wrong? That doesn't make sense. 840 WMAX. Oh, KMAX. I got it wrong. KMAX up in Washington. So 3 new ones this week for Stephanie. Good job, Stephanie! Three out of Kansas. Nicely done. That's not an easy state to hear unless you're kind of in the, line of sight of Kansas. Here, it's been a lot easier than it was when I was in Charleston. When I was in Charleston, it was like, wow, I cannot believe I think I heard 1, maybe 2 out of Kansas. Maybe 1, I think. It was KGGF, Coffeyville. That's what I heard. Moving on my list, Rob. Our friend Rob has been MIA for the last little bit, but that's no problem. Been doing some DX, and last new ones that Rob received there in the upstate of South Carolina was KDWN's DX test on 720 out of Nevada, and WMST on 1150, their DX test from this last weekend. Good job, Rob. I will trade you, John, one of my Kansas ones for a Delaware. How about that? We'll meet after the live stream. We'll make the trade. Carl DeWitt, 8 new ones, including 5 here on 1330 this week. Good job, Carl. Yeah. Friend Airplane Engine here in the chat mentioned hearing HJCN in Bogota on 1100. Not a new Colombian, but a new log nonetheless. So good job, Airplane Engine. David got a chance. David Pete up in Maine got a chance to go down to the coast and logged 13 new stations, all midday daytime stuff. So 13 new ones for David. Daytimers got away from the daytime noise and was able to go down the coast and get some new stuff. So good job, David. Yeah, Kansas is a good e-skip, reliable e-skip one when I was in Charleston, and I haven't heard him here yet. But when I was in Charleston, they were very reliable on e-skip on the FM side. But on the AM side, it was a little tougher, and it was KGGF Coffeyville that got me when I finally got them there. Here, I've got, I think, 9 or 10 of them here because we're a little bit closer, directly kind of just to the southeast of Kansas now. Not directly under, but pretty close. Bart over on Facebook, watching us on Facebook. Hey, Bart. 3 new ones for Bart this week. Good job, Bart. We mentioned earlier we had Bill with 13 new logs, 4 of those on 1330, including a new one in Virginia for number 1000. We're going to give you another shout out here, my friend. And we did John earlier as well. 2 new ones, PJS, sorry, in South Carolina, just up the coast from Charleston. They're in Conway. And my handwriting sucks. WHAZ in New York, which got John number 1200. Good job, John. And that leaves our friend Mike. Mike got 2 new ones this week. So we're going to go ahead and give you the log saw for the 2 new ones. And in addition to, of those 2 new ones, one of those, and my jealousy cup runneth over on this one, was KNWN 1000 out of Seattle, Washington For those of you who are not familiar, Mike, our friend Mike Jaworski, is down in Mexico, way down there. Not like even like on the border, right? Like up, down in Mexico, like deep in there. Not Baja, like down in there. And heard Washington from Mexico on 1,000 kilohertz. For a new state of Washington. That's on my list, man. That's on my list. Washington's on that list of ones that I'm like, I gotta hear them. So I'm gonna keep trying for a sitting on 1,000 here in the mornings or something like that, or sunset, and see if I can hear them. Gray line condition. So for our friend Mike, we shoot off the ceremonial fireworks. Yeah, buddy. Good job, Mike. That's a freaking amazing one to hear Washington from that far away. That's pretty. I think it was around 2,000 miles, wasn't it? Almost right around there. It was a fair clip. So congratulations to you and to all of our folks with shout outs this week. Again, if you have a shout out, new log, new state, new country, new Mexican state, new Canadian province. If you did not hear your name called out, but you got one of those, bring them over in the chat. We'll get you in round 2. A little bit later on in this next hour. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll do this, we'll do that. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more live DX. We're going to announce our frequency of the week for week 22 of the frequency challenge. And we're going to get ready for DXing on that frequency. I think some of you are going to enjoy this one. Some of you probably not, because there's always someone who's like, damn it, man. But I think the majority of you are going to enjoy this frequency. We'll be right back with more DX Central Live right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Presents the Philadelphia Phillies pregame show, brought to you by Safeguard Mutual Insurance and by Woco Department Stores.
DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
From the pages of its DX Monitor member bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AM/DX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AM/DXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AM/DXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News member bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. in languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
Sorry, y'all. I was feeling the groove on that one. Yeah. Back to my old days when I used to be in radio and I'd slip in some nice funk or something like that and be like, yeah. So talking about the chat, those of you using mag loops, if you're also into FMDX and you're not wanting to invest in a Yagi, or you don't have the means to put up a Yagi because of restrictions or space or whatever it might be, try your mag loop out. I use my W6LVP. Pops has used his quite a bit for FMDX. The old adage, especially when it comes to E-skip, is if it's in, it's in. And when E-skip is in, you could pretty much DX. I mean, I DX off a telescopic whip off the portable. You don't have to have a big fancy antenna outside. Obviously, the bigger and higher antenna, more gain, things like that, you'll get better results, maybe. But when E-skip is open, it's open. And when Tropo is open, it's open. And so when DX is pouring in on the FM band, you just need some metal in the air. And a mag loop counts for that. So definitely, if you already have one, or if you're on the fence about getting one, and you're doing some AM and some FM, and you want to get the most bang for your buck, something to think about. The W6LVP loop, great option. I've used the U loop as well for FMDX and AMDX. I'm sure the Wellbrook probably follows suit. I don't know for sure. I've never used it myself, but I'm sure it does. So definitely give it a shot. Try it out. Experiment and see how things go. And let us know. We'd love to know how you do with your FMDX pursuits, which I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do some openings this year, live streaming. I don't know how it's going to go. I've got an idea of what I think I might want to do to try to get around any of the copyright hits that might come. Maybe we'll do everything except for YouTube. Maybe we'll do it on our Twitch and Twitter and Facebook. I don't know. But we're definitely going to try something this summer to do some E-skip opening DX live streams whenever conditions warrant. So keep your ears peeled. Make sure, which kind of leads me into my little spiel here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, whether it's you're on YouTube or Twitch or Facebook or whatever it might be. Make sure you're following us. Subscribe to YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribing on Twitch and following us there. If you're on Twitter, twitter.com/DXCentral, that's where you can find us on Twitter. And we do post up things from time to time there. Tidbits and little tips and tricks and news and whatnots and our goings on. When we hear new stuff, we talk about it there. And I will absolutely be, if we do go live, when there's an E-skip opening, you can bet you'll be seeing me talk about it on Twitter. And then also, don't forget about our website, by the way. It's dxcentralonline.com. You want to make sure you go there for a number of different reasons. There's a lot of information about DXing, so if you're newer to DXing or wanting some tips or tricks or information on propagation for AM or FM, gear for AM or FM, how to DX for AM or FM, things like that, right? We talk about all that on the website in our DX 101 area. We have our blog where we talk about our goings on. We have our weekly frequency challenge where we post up the results link there and our announcement for our new week with our new Google form, which we'll be doing here in just a few moments. We'll be putting that up here in about 2 minutes and 15 seconds or so. It should go up and be published on the website. And all that kind of stuff. So make sure when we go live for a DX test, we put that information up on the blog. So make sure you're checking us out. Bookmark dxcentralonline.com. Some of you may be watching us on our sister site, dxcentrallive.com. We appreciate you being there. We got the nice big YouTube player there on the website. We're going to be working this summer over the off season on enhancing that a little bit, putting more information up there on dxcentrallive.com. And I'm working on a couple of other sites that I can use to kind of consolidate our frequency challenge information and some of the various challenges that we do, things like that. So lots of stuff will be in the works this summer. It's going to be a busy, busy summer for DX Central. And I still have a lot of videos I want to put on the channel, on the YouTube channel, for DX 101 topics on how-tos and antenna design. I still got to put this damn thing up in the air, the mini whip. I still got to build the FSL, the ferrite sleeve loop antenna. I still have a 9-element FM antenna out in the garage I need to put together and up in the air. So we've got projects galore here. So there will be no shortage of topics for videos. I have I'll give you guys the sneak peek behind the scenes because you're cool, because you're here. I'm going to be doing a video on Gray Line DX, sunset and sunrise. We're going to be talking about that and how to do it and when to do it, things like that. We're going to be doing a video specific to Graveyard DX, how to do it, when to do it, things like that. We're going to be doing all kinds of cool stuff that's I've got kind of planned out for this summer. So getting us ready for the next DX season. But please don't be dismissive of the summertime for DX. It is fantastic, actually. For FMD or AMDX rather, FM obviously, but AMDX is great in the summer. We're going to talk about that as we get a little bit closer to the spring here with April coming up over the next several weeks. We're going to talk a bit about that, about why summer is actually not a bad time to DX. I mentioned it in my column in the Spectrum Monitor this month for the April issue. We're going to talk about it here as well. So make sure you keep joining us over the next couple of weeks so you can make sure you listen to that. All right, so let's go ahead and announce our frequency of the week. Where's my mouse pointer? There's my mouse pointer. I'm going to go ahead and tune to that frequency of the week really quick and get this ready so that when we pop back up, we'll be ready to roll for the top of the hour. And for week 22, our frequency of the week is... We're going back down again, back to the lower end of the band on 610, 612 for our international friends. And this is one of those frequencies. If you're a Latin DX lover like I am, you've got some stuff here. We're going to talk a bit about that a little bit this next hour. We got some Mexican stuff. We've got some Cuban stuff. We've got a little bit of Central America. We have a little bit of South America. 610 is a fun frequency. And for those of you who are further up north, the southern U.S. holds some prizes for you as well here on 610 kilohertz. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and fire off the red button. That's right, we are top of the hour time frame. We're sitting on 610 kilohertz. I'm recording it right now on the Perseus. So, you know what that means. We're going to go over here to the AirSpy HF Plus Discovery. I'm pointing relatively southwest on the Southwest CAS. Let's see what we have here on 610 kilohertz. The blog post is up now, so go ahead to the website, dxcentralonline.com. Go to the most recent blog post, and you'll have the link for this week's Google form. And again, for those of you who are kind of about 610, don't worry, I've got some good stuff coming in the next couple of weeks. This is, I think, the last week we have one frequency for USDXers. I think this is the last one where it's 10 kilohertz frequency. The rest of the season, we're going to be doing some ranges, smaller ranges, some, and then we're going to widen it out a bit. But we had one more kind of off by itself frequency that I needed to take care of. So here we are. I agree, Rick. I want to see some good activity in there. So I will be, whenever I go live, I'll be posting in there as well. Whenever there's an e-skip opening, I'm sure I'll be posting in there as well as when we do on Twitter and things like that. So we're going to try to really get that FMDX Slack channel going. So if you aren't yet in the Slack channels, hold on. After the top of the hour, we're going to talk about how you can become a part of the Slack channels for both AM and FMDX. So you can talk and chat. There's always some good lively discussions going on about openings and conditions and what's being heard, and hey, can you guys listen to this for me, tell me what I heard, things like that, always going on in the Slack channel. So we'll talk about that in the next hour. So we had two things there on the Northeast Southwest CAS on the Air Spy. Obviously, we had to be IOD, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, with their ID at the top of the hour. And then as the news kind of got in, you might have heard the Rebeldy 9-note sounder. The way I always kind of remember how it's supposed to go is Rebeldy, 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 right? That's the 9-note little thing that they have. So I heard that underneath WIOD in there on the Air Spy. Let's go back over now to the Perseus and see if we caught anything different on the South CAS.
You can find a needle in a haystack.
Nope.
Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter. the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right.
Did you hear the sounder in there, the rebellion sounder underneath? They're going to do it again here in a few moments, but there was a little snippet of it here.
The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Portions of the following program will be recorded.
WYOD, Miami, WBGG, FM, HD2, Fort Lauderdale. Available everywhere with the iHeartRadio app. Now, #1 for podcasting.
Will be recorded.
We'll go back here.
The answer to
FM, HD.
There we go.
ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Portions of the following program will be recorded.
WYOD, Miami, WBGG, FM, HD2, Fort Lauderdale. Available everywhere with the iHeartRadio app. Now, #1 for podcasting. News Radio 610 WYOD and iHeartRadio's
sources tell ABC News that former President Trump will travel to New York on Monday. He's expected to appear in court at the earliest on Tuesday as he answers to charges in an indictment which was handed up yesterday by a New York grand jury. ABC's Jonathan Karl says the former president.
So there you go. There was the other rebellion sounder there underneath WIOD's news. So yeah, we've had already here on 610 2 stations heard, WIOD in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Radio Rebelde de la Havana, Cuba. So yeah, already a couple to our south here. I'm going to be swapping the antenna north because there's a couple stations up north that I'm looking for here. What I've heard here, I've heard KCSP, I've heard KARV, I've heard VTJ Pensacola, KILT Houston, WIOD Miami, and Rebelde de la Havana. I've heard them. That's it on this frequencies. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, you know, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not bad. My goal right now is to get every frequency at 5 or more. So I'm already there on this frequency. That's fine. But I'd like to get some more, especially here up to the north. I would love to get this Kentucky station here out of Russellville, the RUS. This Nebraska station, because I don't have enough. I don't have hardly any Nebraska. So Rick, waft some of that signal down my way. I'm not sure if you hear them on the regular there in Omaha or not. It's kind of a smaller station, it looks like, but hey, why not? I'd love to hear this one out of Duluth. So Jacob, Justin, if you want to waft some of that signal down my way. Really wish there was something North Dakota, South Dakota here in 610. Oh, there's not. This is my golden goose right here this week. KNML, Albuquerque. I want that one super bad. So I'll be searching for them incessantly this week. That's my #1 target. I'd love to hear KAVL as well. They're in Lancaster. Or is it Lancaster or Lancaster, Stephanie? I'm not sure how you guys pronounce it out there out west. But I'd love to hear that one. But my best shot at a station that I don't have currently would be KNML. That's going to be my numero uno target from here in Mandeville this week. All right. So we are in our second hour of Live DX's Hour, brought to you by International Radio Club of America, IRCAonline.org. That's where you want to go for more information about becoming a member of the IRC today. I highly recommend that you do. With these DX tests we have coming up, the logging columns that are there, all the technical stuff, they have sports networks, all kinds of great information you can get from both the DX News and the NRC and the DX Monitor from the IRCA. So highly recommend that you join if you have not yet done so. Super, super cost effective, by the way, especially if you do the online e-version of DX News with the NRC. It's super cheap, and the IRCA membership is only electronic, and it is also equally super cheap. All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we got more live DX here on 610. We're going to play around with some phasing and things like that to see if we can get something a little bit different out of those that frequency. We'll look at the nighttime pattern maps to see what's there on 610 for us and awaiting us. We'll look at some of those Latin American options. Jeff has a drink he's going to offer for anybody who can hear CKRW up in Whitehorse, Yukon territory. So we'll take a look at their pattern and see how realistic we can think that might be. Since nobody got Alaska this week, So there's no T-shirt being shipped out for Alaska from 1330. I really thought, Stephanie, when I saw you hit Saskatchewan, I thought, she's going to pull this off. She's going to do it. So there you go. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more live DX coming your way right here on DX Central Live. Don't go anywhere.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Seventh inning, 1-0 in favor of Baltimore. The Birds with a run on 3 hits, no errors. The Dodgers, no runs, 3 hits, and no errors. For the Dodgers, Willie Davis, Lou Johnson, and Tommy Davis. Dave McNally comes to the plate. A drag bunt attempt is missed by Willie, and the count 0-1. This grounded to Johnny Powell and struck out and made the defensive play on Powell's bid for a home run in the 4th inning.
DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
From the pages of its DX Monitor member bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AMDX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AMDXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News member bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
And let's see here. Hold up one second. Let me refresh my... Where did my screen, my browser go? There it is. Let me refresh this really quick. I don't want to do this prematurely. Okay, it's a final. Okay, 79-72. It's a final. So, congratulations, Lady Tigers, on your victory over the Hokies of Virginia Tech tonight in the first round of the semifinals of the Final Four here. Going on to face the winner, I think it's Iowa and South Carolina. So there you go. LSU winners. So we're going purple tonight for the rest of the night. It's a great time to be a Tiger. We got baseball's #1 in the country right now. Brian Kelly's got us thinking maybe we could pull it off this year and do something special. Oh, man. Oh, goodness. Well, we had a couple of dark years there after we won the national championship in football. Coach O was doing great, and then everything just went blah. And now we're doing good. We're kicking it now into high gear. We are sitting on 610 kilohertz right now. That's our frequency of the week for the medium wave frequency challenge. And so what we like to do here whenever we pull out a new frequency is we like to look at the nighttime patterns so we can see if there's anything that you guys might see from your location that can be obtainable or kind of know what to expect. We do still have some room in here for shout outs. I saw Dennis in there. Saw your mention in there what you heard this week. So thank you, Dennis. We'll get you a shout out in here. So Earl, hey Earl, saw you're in there in the chat, my friend. Let's see what you heard if you got anything this week. If not, no worries. But if you have a shout out, new stations logged, new states, new countries, new Canadian province, or a new Mexican state, send them over in the chat. We'd love to talk with you about it and give you a nice big shout out, pat you on the back, and do that together as a group. It's better together. Got you in there. Hold on, Earl. Let me write that down before we go too far. While I'm writing Earl's shout out down, talk amongst yourselves here about this beautiful antenna pattern map that we see here. And yeah, that one's been a pest for me this week, Earl. The NIX 40. I don't know if they're well. I'm closer, I guess. So I would imagine it should be relatively easy for me to hear them, but they've been nonstop all week. Let's see. Got Earl in there. All right. If there's anybody else who has a shout out, let's send those on over. We'd love to give you the props that you so richly deserve. Let's take a look now at 610 here on the mighty NF8M antenna pattern, nighttime antenna pattern map. This is the nighttime antenna patterns, mind you. So you'll also want to, if you're looking at this, if you're kind of strategizing on what to listen for this week, you'll also want to take a look at the daytime maps. We don't usually do that here, but we probably should. Look at the daytime maps as well, because that can tell you kind of an idea of what to expect around like sunset, sunrise, and if anything is kind of pointing in your direction for those that might be, bigger powered stations during the day, things like that. But let's go ahead and drop all the plots here. Look at a couple ones that I think are noteworthy. Let's start with this big beast here. Earl pointed out in the chat, look at this. What? Look at all that. KC SP just owning the frequency here. So the vast majority of you that are in the chat right now, because I think a lot of you are in kind of this Indiana, Illinois, Nebraska, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas area, right? You guys are kind of, that's all, a lot of you in the chat right now are in this area. You're just living in the KCSP world. That's what you're doing. So a lot of folks are going to be putting that one in there. I would venture a guess that either that one or WIOD with their big pattern. Look at this beast over here, right? these are going to be probably the two most wild, because I know IOD is heard well up the coastline as well. So yeah, that would be probably my guess for which station will be logged the most for week 22. One of those two. Let's go back and hit all the plots here again and see. We've got a nice big one here. Let me look at my golden goose for the week. Or KMNL. Or KNML. Please do that. Let's redraw that now. That's a kind of a narrow pattern. I know, Jeff, you said you were looking for him too. It's going to be tough sledding. They've got a nice big null right here in my direction. But, again, this is their nighttime pattern. We would have to also look at their daytime pattern, which I can do now. Let's go over here and look at the daytime pattern. And we're going to go to day. And go to 610. And let's drop all the plots here. Let's go back in, do KNML by itself, redraw. Okay, so that helps me feel a little bit better because they do have a considerable nice little bloop heading right towards me here during their daytime facilities. So that makes me think that I have a shot at getting them at sunset before they switch over. If I'm not trying to get through this one and this one at the same time. Because these are going to be difficult ones. And oh, I can't forget this guy over here to my east. Right? So I've got KILT in Houston. I've got KARV up here in Arkansas. I've got my semi-nearby station here in Pensacola. Those are going to make it tough sledding to get over here to KNML. But I have a shot at least because they are sending some signal my direction during the daytime. So sunset is a possibility for that one for me. Let's go back to that nighttime map here and get all the plots back on. Look at this one. KEAR out here in California. San Francisco. Nice big signal. Stephanie. Charles, you guys should have no trouble with that. And probably KAVL is probably your one that you're probably hearing more of, though. That's a little bit closer to you there. Somebody mentioned some of the ones up here in Canada. Let's look at this one, CHNL. Well, they're not throwing a whole lot back our way, are they? Right up the coast. So that'd be interesting to see if anybody has a shot at that one. And Jeff mentioned this one here. Look at that teeny little antenna pattern at night for this one up here. CKRW, Whitehorse, Yukon Territories. Man, if somebody gets that one, that's a celebration. Let me go back to my all plots. Oops, all plots here. Do you have the one up here in Vancouver or British Columbia? Rather, again, they're not really sending a whole lot down. Let's see, out east, rather, you guys have a nice big conglomeration of antenna patterns, as you typically do, here along the coastline. So some good overlap in there. This is one that I've heard quite a few times. Let me drop my plots again. WAGG. I've heard them before. So our folks in the southeast, this is one for you to try for. Down here, I should be hearing them here. I haven't heard them here, actually. I've heard them in Charleston, but not here. To be CEH here in Hawkinsville. That's one of my favorite QSL cards that I have in my collection. I could tell that story sometime. Tiny little signal. But there they are. I'll plot again. So yeah, I think there's some good opportunities here for folks. If you're looking for Missouri, this is a good time to look for them this week. If you're looking for Florida, this is a good time to look for them this week. Houston, a lot of you should be able to get them. Mike, you're going to have probably a good time with Houston down there, heading your way. And maybe New Mexico. You might have a shot at New Mexico, actually. That'd be kind of cool. So, yeah, there's some good stuff here for us this week. Let's go back over now. Back to the Perseus. And let's take a look at some of the Latin American DX that's down here, because there's some that we can look for those who, like me, are highly interested in that. I haven't heard any of the stations out of Mexico yet on 610. So we got a kilowatt here out of Saltillo. 6K on the western coast, probably not here. 1K on the Yucatan Peninsula, that's a possibility here, maybe, probably not. Rebelity is pretty common. I told you guys kind of what to listen for earlier, the Rebelity sounder. There's also a Relo outlet here that I have not heard yet. That's on my list of ones that I definitely want to try for, but I just haven't heard them yet. It's only a kilowatt. It's on the south end of the island, so will I hear them? Probably not, but it's worth a shot. Listen for that Morse code ID and those tones. You get down here in Central America, some smaller stations, kilowatt, half a kilowatt, and so forth. So nothing really too crazy down here, but there are some interesting ones here in South America. So you look at Radio Cristal, and I don't know what the status is in Venezuela. I know there's some people who have heard some Venezuelans lately. I don't know how consistent that is. I don't know how prevalent they're going to be, given some of their situations that are happening in Venezuela with their power grid and their economy and that kind of stuff. But this is an option, 50 kilowatts towards the northern end of the country here. So could be a possibility for some. In Colombia, we do have a 30 kilowatter here, La Carenosa in Bogota. So that's a possibility, 30 kilowatts. That's a decent signal. I've heard weaker stations out of Colombia here before, so that's a possibility. As we look further down, there's a 10K out of Ecuador in Quito, so that's a possibility. Santa Monica Radio Chota, Peru, 5 kilowatter. Hey, I've heard a 3 kilowatter out of Peru before, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. If you are on the eastern half of the United States, and you, especially up in the Northeast, David, looking at you here, David Pete, up around Maine. Brazil sometimes is prevalent. I don't know how far south that goes. I know Mark Connolly and Bruce and Alan and some of those guys out there on that end of New England, they do hear into Brazil. So this could be a possibility. 100 kilowatts out of Belo Horizonte. It is pretty far down there, pretty far south. But we're getting to that time of the year where that equatorial, I called it barrier. No, not as much of a barrier this time of the year and into the summertime. So worth a shot at least. And they do have an Argentine here, 50 kilowatt, if you're really, really, really going to be looking down that way. So yeah, some options down here in Latin America to try for. But I think a lot of us are going to be really kind of just living in this KCSP world. Things like that. So we'll be interested to see what we hear this week. Let me go back over here to the chat. I haven't looked at it in a few minutes, so I'm going to go back and scroll through. But I got Dennis, I've got Earl. So if you have shout-outs that I have not yet called out either earlier or if I didn't call your name just now, and you got some shout-outs you want to include, go ahead and send those over. Meanwhile, let's go over here to 610. I'm going to trade antennas here back to my southeast antenna, which is probably pointing right at Florida. But let's take a shot.
Periodista y además el colega Guillermo Rodríguez y Alvarado va a dar detalles sobre eso. Buenas noches, Guillermo. Gracias, saludos. Reportamos directamente desde Varadero, Matanza. Los corredores de Etiopía prestigiarán la media maratón de Varadero, la cual se efectuará este domingo 2 de abril en esta península, donde además se espera la participación de los principales atletas del país. Por primera vez se correrán los 42 kilómetros en 195 metros. Son las tres ediciones anteriores de los puertos por los 21 kilómetros, distancia que se mantiene también para esta ocasión. Además se correrán los 10 y los 3 kilómetros, conocida como el maratón popular. Por Luis Aguilera, miembro de la Federación Cubana de Atletismo y el comité organizador del evento, ganó varios eventos en la entrega de delegados presidenciales de este viernes en el Hotel Perú. Ya tenemos exacto a punto de la organización en este momento, están las instrucciones de los atletas y de la participar en
All right, I didn't see any other shout-outs in there, so we'll sit on these two here for a few more minutes and give everyone a chance. If we have any late comers into the show here, we'll give folks a chance to get in here. We'll be doing our shout-outs a little bit later on here this hour. We got some time. That's not a live look. There's live. So yeah, Dennis and Earl, I got you in there. If there's anybody else who has a shout-out, send those over in the chat. We'll get you in here as well a little bit later on this hour. Nice one, Rick. And it's fun too. I saw that. I was thinking about that actually because my wife and I have been watching the show Outlander, which I had heard my parents talk about it for years. They've been talking about that show Outlander on Stars and how much they loved it, and had not yet kind of dove into it. And then my wife and I, we'd finished up a series we were watching, and we were like, "What show are we gonna watch now?" And I said, "Well, you want to give Outlander a shot? I hear Mom and Dad say it's pretty great." And so we started watching that. And for those of you who are not familiar, it's about this, it's a kind of a period piece that takes place in 18th century Scotland and England, mostly. And some characters around. I'm not going to talk about too much of the details. I don't want to give it away in case you want to just kind of watch it. But it's on Netflix right now. I think the first 5 seasons. So yeah, when I looked up on it and I was looking at doing 610 this week, I saw Kilt and I went, Outlander, Kilts.
Hundreds of people showed up today. I mean, probably about 1,500, maybe even upwards of that, showing how.
I got you in there, Troy.
Students skipping school. A lot of parents bringing their young kids here as well. And I talked to the organizer of today's event. She's a single mom herself. Her son is about to turn 5. And she said she felt mobilized to act when she saw this on Monday. She put the fire out immediately. Yeah. Well, soon we have all that to get into. We got a long road to hoe. No, not on the show. Tonight's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, there you go, Dennis. There you go.
Why do you hoe the road? I don't know. What does that mean? It's not a hoe a road. It's hoe a row. Like a row. Oh, hoeing the row of corn makes more sense. Wow, I've been saying that wrong for 41 years. That's embarrassing.
I got Dennis, Earl, and now Troy in there as well with Troy's new log this week. And again, any shout-outs, send them on over.
I don't think Jewish producer Chris is right there. Either way, male vitality stack from chalk helps you think clearer, even though I apparently can't anymore. And again, I want to remind you, 20% increase in your testosterone, you'll see a lot more than just, well, the other side benefits. Your mind will be so much sharper. You will have so much more energy, so much more focus. Ladies, the female vitality stack does the same thing for you.
I'm going to assume that the echoey Spanish station that we hear underneath WIOD here, and I'm assuming that's WIOD, but I'm going to assume that echoey Spanish is Rebelde.
CHOQ.com, promo code Jesse, all right? We'll be back.
From the WIOD 24-hour traffic center.
Overnight roadwork affecting both Broward and Miami-Dade counties. Miami-Dade periodic lane closures on I-95 between the Dolphin and the 112 Expressway.
Actually, let me do something really quick. I wanted to do this earlier, and I'd forgotten to do it. Actually, I wanted to do it last couple of weeks, but I forgot to do it. Let me do... Just as a reminder, as we're winding down Season 3 here, don't forget about our TIS Hard Challenge. It's still going on. And I planned on shutting this down at the end of this season. So I would plan on shutting it down May 5th. I'm thinking I might leave that open a bit longer and running through the summertime. So basically, I know everybody does it differently, but I start my new DX season on September 1st. That's when I change over from, in this case, 2022-23 to 2023-24. So I'm thinking about possibly doing that, breaking it off there and stopping this first iteration of the TIS Hard Challenge on basically ending August 31st. And then September 1st, we'll start anew. But don't forget that this is here. So go to our website. It's dxcentralonline.com. and you'll be able to go up here to the top where you have the menu, and under More, there is the TIS Hard Challenge down there at the bottom. So click on that, and all that you need would be here. The entry form is here to enter your logs. The IRCA free TIS HAR list is here. So you'll be able to use that to help you identify what TIS HAR stations you're hearing. I know I've seen some folks who have had some TIS HAR stations recently, in the last month or so that they've been hearing. I hope you guys have been submitting those logs into the challenge here. So yeah, I think I'm going to keep this one running. I was going to end it May 5th when I ended Season 3 of DXC Live, but I'm going to keep it rolling for a little bit longer, just because I want to give everyone a chance to get in there and do some listening, maybe from some of their summer travels, if you're going to be traveling this summer, because there is a rover category. So if you're doing some traveling, or maybe summertime conditions will give you something different on 1610 and 530 and some of the other frequencies. So don't forget about our TIS Hard Challenge. Just go to dxcentralonline.com. Up here in the More area on the menu, go down to the bottom to the TIS Hard Challenge link, and everything you need is there, including there's your form. That's all you need right there, my friends. So make sure you take advantage of that, because I think that's it's a lot of fun. It's been a challenge. The word challenge is definitely appropriate. I've heard some stations, but I haven't been able to pull out enough details yet to get a good ID. But I've been hearing some stuff, so I'm going to keep working on that, so I can try to get some logs in there as well. John up in Delaware has been crushing it. They're on the, I guess, the 95 corridor, been absolutely crushing it so far. But there's still time, still room for other folks to get in there and get their logs in as well. So make sure that you do that. Let's get back to the DX.
On getting active with a healthy lifestyle while growing mental health awareness. Sign up now. RobertFoundation.com. Is your prostate secret?
Good call, Earl.
Prostate, soft palmetto, frosted screen, frosted. Back the curtain on the prostate pill industry. Learn what is really.
Yep, that's them.
Which pill has over 987 adverse event reports filed against it with the FDA. It's shocking. Learn the one food to avoid that is a prostate killer, and discover the 3 so-called health foods that destroy your prostate.
David, yes, they are.
Secrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com. This free guide will show you how to end your prostate problems without drugs or surgery. 5 important things to do to protect your prostate, and much more. Warning, this guide is controversial and may be offensive to some readers.
And if you have a frequency, I know we're sitting on 610 for this week's challenge, but if you have a frequency you want us to check out, maybe you're sitting on right now doing some DX, or you want us to take a look at another frequency this week, as always, you're more than welcome to do so. We'll jump on that frequency here. This is our live DX session we do together. So if you have somewhere you want me to go check out, let me know.
Vacancy rate is professional business services. The top areas in the country include Orlando, Miami, Palm Beach, Fort.
Take care, Stephanie. Good luck this week. Enjoy your supper, your dinner. And Earl, that would be awesome, man. I would put my Southwest Cas and point it at them, and just every morning look for them to see if I can get rid of WSM enough to have a shot at Honolulu. That would be seriously sweet. It's probably never going to happen, but that would be really awesome.
I can't get it out of my head. Now, and I like the name. That makes sense. It's your second biggest audience, believe it or not, is Canada, because they're some of the most hardcore writers you've ever seen. Hardcore.com is started Canada because their president almost as bad as ours does. Is Trudeau a prime minister? I don't know. Well, whatever those people have up there. So I love Canada. I love Canadians. The people are good.
Let's do a little phase in. First, let's switch to the Southwire. Still the same thing. Let's do a little phasing. Let's just introduce some phasing into the path here and see if we have anything different. Maybe it'll boost one of these signals. Maybe it'll get rid of both of them and give us something different. I don't know. Let's take a look. Or maybe it'll get rid of everything.
This can only backfire on them. All Donald Trump is a master of publicity, and he's already being arrested. He doesn't want it to be quiet. He wants himself to be a martyr out there for him. If you're on Team Trump, you're dying for him to be arrested on camera. And I suspect, remember I predicted this for the longest time, I suspect he will get his wish because I suspect Alvin Bragg wants him to be arrested. And yesterday, as I said, with handcuffs and everything, I guarantee Trump is already thinking about what he's going to wear in his mugshot photo. He's practiced his mugshot picture several times in here. You think I'm joking?
I got you, Mike. I got you. Here, let me give you a little preview. And show you what I got here that I've cooked up. Is this one? Yeah, it's that one. There we go. This is going to be the new one for the new Mexican state. So there you go. That's what's waiting for you this week, Mike. If you can pull off Yucatan, get that in there for your final Estado de Mexico. I just heard that Rebellion sounder again. Is that where they're at? They're not Yucatan? Or I guess that wouldn't be Quintana Roo, is it? Hold up. Mexican state. Let me find my map. It's been a while since I looked at the map. Mexican state map, which is down here. So we got Yucatan. There's Quintana Roo. So yeah, I guess, is that Yucatan? That's your last one. So that would be, that'd be nice, man. You've got all this other stuff. That's really impressive, actually. One of these days, at the very least, I want to have all of the mainland stuff, and then work on Baja if I have, a shot at that. But that's really impressive, man. I tried to do it, Rick. I wanted to do something that wasn't too stereotypical. I wanted it to, image-wise and music-wise, to definitely have the flair and the feel. But I didn't want to do a bunch of stereotypical stuff, I didn't want to have the easy tropes that are easy to do. I wanted it to be something a little bit different. So I felt the music was a nice balance of that. And the images, I wanted to show how beautiful Mexico actually really is. So hopefully I got close. Nice one, Earl. Oh, and just for fun, because I said I would, just for fun, nobody hit it this week. But Barry said he wanted to see it, so... If somebody pulls off Yukon this week, Northwest Territory, and is able to hear, what was it, CKRW, in Yukon Territory. If somebody's able to pull that off, that and more may await you next week. And I had to put the Letterkenny in there because I just finished up another episode. I'm on the most recent season, about halfway through. Actually, more than halfway because it's like 6 episodes. But I had to put my Letterkenny reference in there too. Glad you like that one, Earl. I've learned a lot about. I've never been a big hockey guy because I lived in the South my entire life, and here hockey's like, you never come across it because it's the South, and so I've learned a lot about hockey culture and the hockey life, hockey players, and of course the Hicks, and the Skids. We have those down here obviously too, so that's nice to identify with. And I did have to have the captions on at first when I first started watching it to be able to pick up on some of the terminology, right, that I didn't know. I mean, I could understand what they were saying fine, but it was like some of the terminology they would say when they would really start going rapid fire. I was like, wait, what? So that took a little bit of time, but now I'm locked in, totally locked in. Which, of course, was my inspiration for the... That's where that came from. I'm convinced it is a greased up plastic. It's not really ice. It can't be. Even indoors, their air conditioning bill would be extravagantly high, right? And even Carolina with the hurricanes. That one, I mean, they have some cold winter days, but I mean, when I think it was the year they won the Stanley Cup, or they went to the finals and they were playing for it. There were some folks when I was living in North Carolina that got a little excited about that, but by and large, the rest of the state was like, eh. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't know if it'll ever take off down here. Maybe it will. Maybe, I don't know. People are getting tired of some of the other sports, so maybe they will. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna have more live DX heading your way. Of course, this live hour of DX is brought to you by International Radio Club of America, IRCA Online. So make sure you check them out and go there for more information by becoming a member today. We'll be doing some more live DX and wrapping up this edition of DX Central Live right after this break, so don't go anywhere.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
The Philadelphia Phillies pregame show, brought to you by Safeguard Mutual Insurance and by Woco Department Stores.
DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
From the pages of its DX Monitor member bulletin, members of the International Radio Club of America share their domestic and international AMDX loggings. In its Mexican log, a wealth of information can be found of stations from south of the border. Technical guides, sunrise, sunset maps, and more make the IRCA a must-join for any AMDXer. For more information, log on to ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. While the HF bands can be filled with entertaining and intriguing transmissions, how do you know when and where to look? Let Teague Publishing's Global Radio Guide lead the way. In addition to its exhaustive list of time and frequency for international broadcasters, radio hobby icon Gail Van Horn brings you equipment reviews, an SDR buyer's guide, feature articles, and more. Pick up your copy today. Visit teaguepublishing.com for more information. That's teaguepublishing.com. Since 1933, the National Radio Club has been serving AMDXers while providing some of the most in-depth information in the hobby. From the annual NRC AM log, a must-have reference for domestic station information, to antenna design reference manuals, and of course, the DX News member bulletin, which is filled with station information updates, domestic and international loggings, and a whole lot more. Become a member today. For more information, log on to nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central.
Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana, and we are rolling right along here towards our final top of the hour time of the night, and getting ready to wrap up the episode here as we're sitting on 610 kilohertz. And while we're here, let's go ahead and take a look. We are 610 and 612 for our friends overseas. So let's just take a look if maybe you're overseas, or if maybe you might be on one of the coasts and have a shot at some transatlantic DX. Let's take a look and see if there's anything here, or trans-Pacific even. If there's anything here that might be worth your while. So looking in Europe, not a whole lot. We do have a couple stations here in Spain, 10 kilowatters, but probably not a lot of folks outside of Europe are going to be hearing those. So there's a couple of options for our European DXers. We do have in Africa some good ones here. Morocco checking in with a 300 kilowatt daytime, 140 kilowatt nighttime signal here out of Morocco. So there's an option for you if you are looking for something from the continent of Africa, especially our East Coast DXers. Down here in Nigeria, they've got a 50 kilowatter here, Radio Kwara. So again, if you're on the East Coast of the US, or if you're in Europe, maybe, or Africa, and you want a shot at something here, there you go, 612. You have Morocco and Nigeria, some options there for you. Asia, quite a bit more over here now. We've got Bahrain, we've got a 100 kilowatt station here. It's Radio Bahrain. Let me go find them. There it is right there. 100 kilowatts from them. Iran's got a 300 kilowatt. They've got so many stations. As all these European countries have just abandoned AM for whatever reason. I don't understand it. Iran's like, nah, we're doubling down, man. We're putting like 300 kilowatters on every frequency. Jordan, 100 kilowatter as well. And then even Saudi Arabia, some 5K, 15K. So yeah, Jordan, Iran, and Bahrain, you've got in excess of 100K on all of those. 100K or more on all three of those countries. So that's a good option for our overseas DXers. Out further into the Asian continent here, we've got 200K out of India. Another there's a 3 kilowatter. Let's see, was that Kyrgyzstan? Yeah, let's see, Trans World Radio 300K. Is that Trans World Radio? It says TWR. Yeah, Trans World Radio Europe 300K. There's also a 200K. So I think there's 2 transmitters right in here. 3 and 200K is on the list here. So yeah, you got an option there. Out of Kyrgyzstan, India, Iran. We talked about that. Jordan, Japan. Can't forget about Japan. Look at this. Nice 100 kilowatts. So our West Coast DXers, Pacific Northwest, you've got a shot here. 100 kilowatt out of Japan. JOLK, NHK Radio 1. We do have a decent one here in China for 50K. Those are most of the big ones, I think, in Asia. Oceania, the Tim Trumps of the world that hear the South Pacific and down under pretty frequently. You got a 50 kilowatt here out of Brisbane, 4QR, ABC, Australian Broadcasting Company, 50K on the east coast of Australia. So, and then kind of close to the northern side. So a little bit better shot there, 50K. So yeah, I think if you're listening, if you're watching this and you are outside of the United States and you want to participate, there's some options there for you. We'd love to have you join us in the frequency challenge. And if you're in the States and you want to try for some of those 612, obviously give them a shot. And if you hear them, by all means, there's a spot on the log for you to put them in. So yeah, we're sitting on 610 and 612. Let's really quick we've got a couple minutes here before our top of the hour time frame and our next group. So let's go ahead and do our shout outs. We've got 3 to wrap us up for this this hour. Dennis, 3 new ones this week, my friend Dennis. Good job, Dennis. There we go. Earl heard my pest this week, 1330, the NIX for a new one, and KMAJ 1440 for a new one. So good job, Earl. Troy, our final shout out here for the evening here. And if you do have a shout out and I missed you, no worries. We'll get you in here next week. Just make sure you come in and join us and let us know, and we'll get you in there too. Troy got a new one this week. I can't read my handwriting. I think it's, if I butcher the call letters here, I'm sorry, my handwriting's atrocious. To be BMT 1330 out of Virginia. Good job, Troy. And as I mentioned earlier, no new ones for me this week. The only new one I had was WWAB out of Lakeland, Florida. And we already did that shout out because it happened live here on the stream. So nothing new since then. Oh, well, that's not a problem. We'll get him this week. There you go. So if you have a shout out you want to get in for next week, hold on to those. We'll get you in here. But now it is time for us to fire off one last time the big red button. It's top of the hour time frame. We're on the Perseus. We're on the Air Spy. And do I have the... Hold on a second. I haven't even looked over here to see if I have... I do. Well, look at that. Let's just... Hey now. Let's take a look and see. Do I have anything coming in here on the RSPDX? So we're gonna do the RSPDX here. This is with the twin W6 LVP loops. Do I have? No, I don't have my phaser turned on here. Let me do that really quick. Phaser on. Let's do this hour, and then we'll come back after the top of the hour. We're going to be recording here on the Perseus. Let me hit that record button. There we go. So we're going to record top of the hour on the Perseus. We'll go back to that after the top of the hour and see what we caught. But let's finish up this hour here live with the RSPDX and the twin W6 LVP loops, which are right now pointing at 130 degrees. Let's move that to 270. Maybe 290. We might boost it up a little bit to the westish, northwestish. Let's see.
Very young kids here as well. Then she's a single mom herself. Her son's the result today with people singing songs confronting lawmakers on their way into the General Assembly today, calling for some kind of gun reform. I've talked to a mother who lost her older son to gun violence in a Waffle House shooting here in New York Post put out a on that shooter today, calling her.
So let me do something really quick. I'm going to see what do we have here on the ones we're hearing IOD. IOD's on the South Wire. So the guy and the music there is IOD. Hear that? That one, I thought I heard a little gospel in there that might be Birmingham. We're swinging to 45 degrees, so let's see. They were in there really brief. I don't know if that was WAGG or not, but it was super brief. There was just a little bit of a gospel choir in there. So that'll be one I will watch this week. See if we can pull anything out of them. Because I heard him when I was in Charleston, but I have not heard him here. Let's go back over to the Perseus real quick. We'll wrap up this hour, this top of the hour sequence here, and see what we caught at the top of the hour here on the Perseus. I have a guess. Oh, I think I might know what it might be.
In the divorce process, this comes down to three key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important. It's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do. Schedule an appointment with one of our Lankford Miami area attorneys. Legal services available in English and Spanish. Offices in Miami-Dade County and Fort Lauderdale. Cordell, Police Department, Florida Reserve Department, Joseph Cordell, Assistant Missouri, Illinois,
Al menos 24 personas resultaron heridas y fueron hospitalizadas. Estas ataques violentos provocaron en el área metropolitana de Lankford, Arkansas, de los Estados Unidos. Según reportes de medios locales, respecto a un perfil de meteorólogos pronostican la ocurrencia de más fenómenos similares, así como fuertes lluvias y granizo en el Valle de Premian al científico cubano por sus aportes en relevancia.
So, as I imagined, it's WIOD with Rebellion underneath that little watery that you hear. That's the little sound effect that they play in between news stories when they're reading on Rebellion. So, we got Rebellion, we got IOD, so we got a good start. But we're going to be doing some more work and see if we can get New Mexico, maybe Alabama. I'd love to hear KCSP. I haven't heard them in a very long time. We're going to throw the north-south back north again and see what we can hear this week. So see if maybe they'll come in that way. All right, so that's going to do it for this week's edition of DX Central Live, my friends. It's been a lot of fun. Appreciate you all being here. Oh, quick before we adjourn, I wanted to see one thing. Do we have a nominee for Tweet of the Week? Tweet of the Week. I don't think that we do. I don't think we had any nominations this week. Or a whole lot of activity that I could grab a hold of and throw my own in there. I don't think so. I don't think we had any. We got John here talking about mowing his grass last night in the winter coat. Oh, man. This time of the year is just so wonky. Bought a new CB. Some of you guys know I bought a new truck recently. And so I did not want to put I wanted to put a CB in there. And I've got a Uniden 980 sideband model over here, brand new one. And it's got all the fancy colors and all that kind of stuff. I didn't want to put that in the older 1974 truck. It just felt wrong. So I went out on eBay and I found myself a vintage Cobra 148 GTL that I'm going to put into the truck. I got the bracket today. Got my knobs. Mount the CB came in today. So the only thing I have left to do is buy the mount and the antenna. And I don't want to cut any holes in this thing, so I want to find something I can kind of just brace onto the bumper or something like that. So that was a big bunch of Twitter conversations. So no DXC Tweet of the Week this week. I thought we might have had something in there. Actually, hold on. We'll double check one more place. AMDX. We do have a Tweet of the Week. We do.
It's time for the DX Central Live hashtag Tweet of the Week. Tweet. Tweet, tweet.
All right, so our DXC Tweet of the Week is from our friend Charles. Stops by the chat in the live stream pretty often. Was in here earlier, I think. And down in San Diego, and said, at long last, found my very first radio. I'd given it up for lost. It's about 60 years old, and it works. So let's see what he heard.
We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Some of the headlines we're following.
There you go. Charles found his very first radio. So that's our DXC Tweet of the Week.
It's time for the DX Central Live hashtag Tweet of the Week. Tweet. Tweet, tweet.
he's still in there. Charles is still in there. So there you go, Charles, our DXC tweet of the week. You found your very first radio. That's something we should all celebrate. My first real DX radio sitting out in the garage, my Panasonic RF3100, the one that I got my start on. It's sitting out in the garage. I need to do some work on it to clean it up and get the display working and stuff like that. But it's there. It's there. All right, my friends, that's going to do it for this week's edition of DX Central Live. 610, 612. Make sure you go out there and hit those frequencies hard. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Just a couple of frequency ranges left. Next week, we go back to a range. So make sure you get your opportunity now. This is our last kind of easy street week of single frequency before we hit it really hard the next several weeks to finish up this edition of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge this season. Take care, my friends. Best of DX. Hopefully all of you are safe from the storms. Take care of yourselves. Have fun with any antenna projects you might be doing this weekend. Be safe. And we'll see you next week right here on DX Central Live. Take care.
This is DX Central Live.